Welcome back to PerpTech Daily. I'm Aaron, and today in the video, we're going to be covering the PerpTech scene, hyperliquid lighter, and a couple other things. Let's get straight into it. It is Monday, and I took the past 2 days off. Probably just going to start taking weekends off in terms of days I make videos. Just make a video Monday through Friday, then take Saturday and Sunday off, just so I can better pace myself and have sort of a routine in terms of schedule. Anyways, let's get straight into it. Hyperliquid's price has dumped over 4% today, and lighter dumped over 10% today. The dip's getting eaten up. Now you're probably asking, why is the entire market going down? Bitcoin's down almost 2%, and it is because the war or situation in the Middle East has reopened again. It was announced about this morning. President Trump says the U.S. is taking over the Strait of Hormuz, and of course, Iran is not happy with that. And the UAE is also planning to make some sort of other strait to bypass the Strait of Hormuz, something like that. But this has obviously shooken the markets. We know every time there's news about war in the Middle East, markets are going to move, and crypto is the most risk on asset class, so it's going to dump the hardest. Just the game you're playing. And if you take a look at the price of oil, let's go down to oil right here. Oil's up only 4%. And when I look at this, to me, this gives Trump more room to kind of do what he wants. You know, if oil went up 10, 20%, then Trump might back off. But he's going to probably do what he wants until oil gets back to these prices and the gas prices go crazy again. Not exactly sure what's going on here, but this isn't a geopolitical show. I just wanted to let you guys know why the prices are dumping. You know, that's just how it is. Politics and traditional, financial markets, crypto markets do collide, so you got to cover it sometimes. But anyways, let's go to our first thing. When you take a look at the TWAP buy pressure for hype in the next 24 hours, 325K. This number, the TWAP buy pressure, has been down a little bit lately. And I've been saying this on Twitter, but I think this is an amazing range. I mean, guys, this is giving me deja vu from where we were in March to about May. It feels like this exact scenario is starting to play out, just at a higher range. And, once again, this is very common, and this is kind of how trading psychology works. People want to they want to chase green candles. They want to get in during the green candles, but they don't want to be there when things are boring. But it's unironically, you want to be there when things are boring. We saw we saw hype bottom out in January. Nobody wanted to touch it. And then we saw it, slowly kind of move up, higher lows. And then from about March to about May, so 2 whole months, it pretty much just went sideways for the most part. And nobody really wanted to touch it then again. And then we saw this huge pump. And now we've been sitting up here. And once again, people are still, I think, thinking they're going to get a $40 hyperliquid. I don't think we're going to see it. Of course, nobody knows where the price of the crypto assets are going in the short term. But I think it's going to be sitting in this coiled up range for a long time. And eventually, it's been, how long has it been since we've made this run up here? I mean, it's been coming up on 2 months, okay? And I think eventually it's going to break out and we'll go to $100, something like that. But anyways, let's go to this metric right here on the hyperliquid ecosystem page. And I want to kind of talk about it real quick. Is the HIP3 volume is continuing to grow, okay? Take a look at this. The HIP3 share of hyperliquid volume. This stat shows how much of a hyperliquid's total perp volume comes from HIP3 markets. And you can see this metric is continuing to go up and to the right. And also take a look at this. Just in the past 24 hours, all the traditional native crypto perps right now stacked up against Hyperliquid's HIP3, they're only doing 8% more. 8% more. Absolutely ridiculous. And this is showing that Hyperliquid is continuing to get bigger. And this is good for lighter as well. Because once again, if you're like me, you probably believe that the whole entire perp market in crypto is going to continue to get bigger. And also, the Hyperliquid official account today came out with this tweet saying real world asset open interest on Hyperliquid reaching new all-time high of $3.6 billion. And I really like to see this, especially in a time with the whole Robinhood thing going on, meme coins being super hot right now. Glad to see RWA getting some shine again. And RWA is the big thing that traditional finance is really interested in, because it makes a lot of sense. When you break it down, when you're going through a traditional brokerage to get access to stocks, or I don't even know, oil contracts or gold, it's difficult. But RWA basically allows people to get access to assets a lot easier than they would traditionally. That's kind of the big point of RWA, at least the way I look at it from a layman perspective. Okay? And open interest just means open positions. Okay? So it's if you have an open contract, that counts as open interest. Okay, so if you have an open contract that's worth $100,000 on Hyperliquid, that would add $100,000 to this $3.6 billion number, just to give you some information. So really good to see this. And this is definitely, I will say, somewhere where Lighter is lacking is open interest. But once again, Lighter's smaller, and I do think it's going to keep growing bigger. Now let's take a look at Lighter. As you can see right here, the total open interest hasn't really moved much in the past couple of weeks, as I've been saying there. But the 24-hour volume is above 1.12 billion. I've been saying Lighter is probably going to be a slower cook, just because it's smaller, and people are now, just after this whole Robinhood thing, starting to get excited about it. But now let's take a look at another metric that looks really, really interesting. I talked about this on Twitter yesterday, and it got some eyeballs. Is the Light versus Hyperliquid actual price earnings metric, okay? So if you take a look at up here, if we come up here, PE is broken down. The equation is market cap, the total market cap, divided by annualized revenue, okay? And if you take a look at this metric, it's gone up and to the right for both Lighter and Hyperliquid, okay? Lighter's in the blue, Hyperliquid's in the green. But what this tells me about Lighter is that Lighter is still honestly really undervalued. Hyperliquid's really undervalued too, but I don't really understand how Hyperliquid's at 18 billion. Well, I could, give kind of a longer thesis on why, but I don't want to waste your fucking guys' time on my little rants. But Hyperliquid's sitting at around an $18 billion market cap, and Lighter's sitting around, I don't know, 500 million? I don't think it's worth like 40 times more. I'm just being honest, okay? So what this chart screams to me is Lighter is undervalued still. And honestly, grossly undervalued. And you might say, that's crazy, Aaron, especially after all this news and the price just went up. We've been talking about Lighter here since the beginning of this fucking channel, and I've been talking on X about it before that. And I still think it's undervalued. Okay, and now we're going to get into some other things. Okay, Lighter announced they've executed the burn of 15 million Light, permanently removing these tokens from circulation. And there's another misconception when it comes to Lighter, and I do not understand how, one of the interesting things, guys, about crypto Twitter in general, and we all make mistakes as content creators, I say shit sometimes that I got wrong. Some other influencer says something they got wrong, price predictions wrong, maybe they said something that wasn't technically correct, whatever. Everyone makes mistakes. But one rumor is that keeps floating around crypto Twitter, which I think is stupid, is that they're trying to say, some of these guys are trying to say that, so for Hyperliquid, 100% of the value that accrues from the platform, the Hyperliquid platform, accrues to the token, the hype token. The same thing is going on with Lighter, okay? And due to this whole thing that's going on with this Delaware C Corp thingy with the Lighter company, which I don't want to get into because it's just, we're trying to make this video shorter. Some of these people have spun a narrative that not 100% of the value that is coming out of the Lighter protocol isn't accruing to the token. 100% of the value, let me just say this to you guys, 100% of the value that is coming from the Lighter protocol accrues to the token, just like Hyperliquid, okay? So some of these guys on crypto Twitter, and I just want to say this like mini rant, but there's I don't want to say his name, and he's a good guy. I honestly like his page. But just to give an example, there was a major influencer who I was talking to, just in Twitter replies, I don't even know, a month ago. And he was trying to tell me Lighter is garbage. And I asked him why, and he had no real reason why. No, it's just garbage. It was garbage. And I was like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm looking at the stats, I'm looking at the partnerships, like, are we seeing the same thing? And unironically, the coins he was promoting I thought were garbage. So maybe we just saw things differently. Not that I ever called his coins garbage, but I was thinking in my head, I was looking at the stuff he was promoting, and I was like, I don't know, I feel like my coins are better than your coins. But, that's why I say, even just take what I say with a grain of salt. At the end of the day, I'm just trying to provide you guys the information. You can watch the show, not watch the show. You can take my information for what it is, but what I do recommend is doing your own research, okay? If I say something and you're kind of like questioning it, just do your own fucking research, okay? It doesn't take that long. You can just open up Claude and ask it 1,000 questions, and it'll go through it. Or don't, and just take my word for it. Whatever you want to do. Kind of a mini rant on just like trusting people in the space and stuff, but like, yeah, I don't know. That big influencer was trying to tell me Lighter was trash right before just Gigapump, before the Robinhood thing, and I was sitting there, I'm like, yeah, like, I don't even know. And I've been in the game, by the way, guys. some of you guys may not know who I am. I've been making content for over 6 years in the crypto space. So I've seen it all. I've worked with a ton of influencers. I've been done so much with influence. So I get how the whole thing works. But anyways, let's go to the next thing. Okay. So this is kind of a thesis thing I put out today on Twitter, which if you're watching this video and you've made it this far, you should be following my fucking Twitter. Please follow my Twitter. I'm posting a lot of stuff there, but I tweeted out this morning. Imagine once Robinhood can have perps on their main platform in the USA. Imagine if it utilizes Lighter, LIT. The volume would be ridiculous and lead to loads of buybacks. Lots of scenarios where things get really bullish for Lighter quickly. So right now, perps on the Robinhood's main platform is not available in the USA. Okay? And this is due to regulation and all this other bullshit. And we know that for the Robinhood crypto wallet, they have Lighter integrated. Okay? And in my opinion, based on the fact that the founder of Lighter, yes, the founder of Lighter sits on the advisory board for the CFTC, the people who are going to be giving out the fucking licenses so they can operate in the USA, I think Lighter's going to get a license. And some people may get mad at this, but it's even possible they get it before Hyperliquid. It's possible. Kevin Warsh, the Fed chair, he's invested in Lighter. There's a ton of people in Washington invested in Lighter. There's another big name, I forget off the top of my head. David Sachs is invested in Lighter. The Palantir guys are invested in Lighter. I could go on and on and on. I go the Robinhood guys. Vlad, the Trump accounts are using Robinhood. Vlad, the CEO of Robinhood. Robinhood's heavily invested in Lighter. So it's possible, and I love Hyperliquid. And Hyperliquid's still the king of the perp dexes, but it's possible you can't rule out scenarios that they give the license to Lighter before Hyperliquid. It's possible. Just based on cabal. They can do whatever they want. They don't have to play fair. They could say, oh, Hyperliquid, we're not going to give you the regulation and the license. We're going to give it to Lighter. We're going to pump our own bags. Be prepared for that scenario. Just saying. And I think Lighter is just I think they're just going to integrate it. In terms of United States companies, I think Lighter is going to be chosen for all the fucking partnerships and all those licenses. Maybe we'll see what happens. And once again, this may not happen. We talked about the Robinhood thing for weeks, and at the end of the day, it happened. And it was pretty obvious that it would probably happen, but we don't know. So, we'll see what happens and everything. But if this actually went through and Robinhood used Lighter for their perps on their main platform, which I'm not sure they will. Maybe they just use Lighter for their crypto perps, whatever, and then they use their own perps platform. The thing is, Robinhood's heavily invested in Lighter, and they all work together, so I feel like it would make sense for them to do that. But the amount of volume the Robinhood app would drive to Lighter would be ridiculous. People don't understand. Outside of the crypto space, Robinhood is bigger than Coinbase and all that shit. It's bigger, way bigger. I was actually talking to a kid at a baseball game 2 days ago, and he asked me, I was telling him, he's like, what should I do in crypto? And I was like, you know what, man, I think you should probably do your research and stuff. And he's like, nah, man, cut the shit. What should I do? And I was like, dude, Hyperliquid and Lighter. And he's like, you know what the first question he asked me was? Is it on Robinhood? And I said, you know what, actually, Lighter is on Robinhood. You can buy ticker LIT on Robinhood. Okay? And that's huge. And if they integrate perps, which I think they will, my buddy Mike talked about this on the CoinTalk podcast, if you watch that, that the perp market is probably going to end up getting bigger than the options market, simply just because it's way easier to understand. It's way normally friendly. And the perp market is still not even legally available in the USA. That's how fucking early we are, guys. People say, oh, top. Bro, it's not even legal in the biggest fucking most liquid country yet. We're fucking early, okay? Sorry for swearing a lot. Need to probably tone it down there. But point being, if Robinhood gets these perps, they will do so much freaking volume. And if they have Lighter integrated, this, I think, will take Lighter to the absolute moon. But anyways, that's kind of it for our show for today. Really glad to have that 2-day break on the weekend and everything, kind of just refresh my mind and stuff. But if you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to subscribe, leave a like. We're posting about Lighter and Hyperliquid every single day on this channel, Monday through Friday. Make sure to go follow me on X, do this, and join the Discord for free. Link in bio. See you tomorrow.